Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staub and Les Jackson here. Les, what's going on this week?
Hey, we got a lot of things going on in the industry, a lot of still new reveals coming, and big chess match between all of the manufacturers on who's the best and who's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to start out this week talking about the F 150. A couple of interesting stories. The Lightning is going to take on Pikes Peak. That's one form of racing I don't know whether I'd like to do. I kind of like
I
guardrails, you know? How about you?
Yeah, I've been to Pikes Peak, but I've never driven up it. I why?
Well,
I
I
just don't
drove
like.
up it in a motorhome, but not at speed because
Yeah, no.
that would be you'd be end up tumbling down the hill. But we'll talk about that. And then interesting story: a lot of new F-150s were being built in the variety of
Hmm.
plants around the country and shipped to Michigan, where they sat in lots, and everyone wondered what was going on. Well, apparently they were doing some
Yeah,
quality checks, but they passed,
yeah, yeah.
and they're on their road to the customers. And Jim Farley says, "Hey, the Toyota Tundra is what they base the F-150 on."
That boy, things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, they sure have. So we'll talk about that. Subaru's trademarking a bunch of new names. We'll kind of figure out what that might mean. Talking tech,
True.
Volvo. This is a good one, Les. Volvo has a system that will tell you that there's an accident ahead, even if you can't see it.
Which
Which
is great.
that
I mean,
that is
how many times have we all been caught in traffic because we didn't know there was an accident ahead?
Yeah. So they'll
Yeah.
talk about that make it much safer. And then remember the Apple Car? There's a lot of talk about it. Well,
This goes in one of our "I told you so" segments.
yep,
Um,
non. It's a
but
non-starter.
it's a non-starter.
Yeah, we'll have that. And then Mike Quincy of Consumer Reports has got some great information. Their top 10 picks. They put, as you know, they buy all the cars they test.
Yep.
We don't have the budget for that. Uh,
No, we ran out about 20 years ago on
yeah,
on that.
yeah. So, but they that's what they do, and he's going to be by to give us his top 10 picks for the year, and it's great information if you're going out to buy a vehicle. So you want to stay tuned to Cruise Control. We are live. We got a great hour of entertaining automotive industry news and plenty more. So Les may even, I don't know, talk about a sock collection, right?
Uh, no, I've arranged my sock drawer,
All right. All right.
so
Well,
so the rest of the weekend is open.
all right. Well, we will be right back. Stay tuned.
This is Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news will fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome everybody to Cruise Control Radio. This is your on-air automotive magazine, and we are here as we are every week live. I'm Les Jackson, and you know that guy. That's Fred Staub, and momentarily we have one of the Cruise Control cats here. He'll be operating the soundboard or stepping on the keys, one or the other. And we have a lot of stuff. In fact, and a good thing is we have a guest this hour that everybody will want to listen to. He's Mike Quincy of Consumer Reports.
Yeah, that's right, Les. And we are starting off with a story about the F 150. And of course, that is still the most popular vehicle in America. There was a number of them were stored in Michigan after being built at various plants around the U.S. Now they're being released to customers. Maybe you're one of those customers, so you'll be getting your F-150 soon. We'll talk about that. But Jim Farley says it's not all about the F-150, but really what he likes to use as the golden rule of quality is the Tundra, the Toyota Tundra. So kind of benchmarking the Toyota Tundra, which is interesting to hear.
That's quite a departure.
And other news, F-150 news, the Ford Lightning, F-150 Lightning, will be taking on Pikes Peak. And that is always a daunting racetrack, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to turn down an invitation to co-drive it if they send me one because, I don't need that kind of fear.
No. Well, anyway, you've got a story about Subaru.
Subaru has just trademarked a whole lot of new model names, and we might tell you some of them.
Yeah, that sounds good, and we really don't know what's going on with it, but hey, we'll prognosticate, right?
That's very smart.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking tech, Volvo has come up with a way for you to see accidents before they happen. In other words, they're up around the bend. Well, they have a way for you to know what's coming up, which is a great way to avoid it, isn't it?
That's very true. And Apple's car, remember Apple's car a few years ago? We made fun of it.
Yep.
Well, we're still going to make fun of it.
Right, because it's not happening. It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Yes. And then what is happening is Mike Quincy of Consumer Reports will be by with their top 10 picks. They always really thoroughly evaluate these vehicles, and it's great information if you are looking for a new vehicle. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. That is a whole lot of stuff coming up. You don't want to miss it. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now X. We'll be right back. So you wouldn't do Pikes Peak, Les?
Well, again, I would drive it. I wouldn't compete because, my doctor told me I have a low threshold of death, and and when you go off the road to Pikes Peak, you roll down a whole long way down the mountain. Very likely not survivable. It's really a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, guardrails are not part of the
they're
equation.
Not, and it's just rock.
Yeah.
So I think it's a cool race. It's been around for many, many, many years, and the people that do it, they're many of them are professional at it, but others are just amateurs who do great. Do really do well.
I think electric vehicle would be great for it, don't you, though?
Absolutely, because you don't have to worry about the altitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
The engine doesn't need oxygen.
Yeah.
But still, it's terrifying. You've been up it.
Oh, I've been up it in a motorhome, but not racing.
Well, that's terrifying in and of itself.
It was just lucky it made it up there.
Yeah, actually, you probably had no power at all when you.
No, near the top, it was like nothing. Because I think
How'd you turn around?
I think there is a turnaround up there, but this was a carbureted motorhome. It goes back that long ago.
Boy.
So, yeah, once it would get up high, it would be like, I can't get air. So, yeah. But it is interesting to go up Pikes Peak, just not at speed.
Yep, I went up the mountain that is the one mountain taller than Pikes Peak.
Mount Washington?
No, they're in Colorado.
Oh, wow. Well, we will be back in a moment with more Cruise Control, so stay tuned.
Hmm.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson, we are glad you are with us along for the ride, and we've got a lot to get to, so let's just jump right into it. There was a report that Ford was storing their new 2024 F-150 pickups and filled random storage lots across Michigan, and a lot of people wondered what was going on with them, and they were being checked for quality. Ford has done a lot to up their quality game. Jim Farley has been working on this extensively, and it's a launch that they have to get right. So a vehicle was built, it was shipped up to Michigan to be looked at, sat there in some of these once vacant lots up to 90 miles away from Detroit. Think of the logistics of that, Les. It's like, where's your vehicle? Well, we'll start looking around in these lots. I found it 90 miles outside of Detroit. The cost of that, to do that, must have been big, right?
Oh, phenomenal. But the fact is, they want these things to be shipped and delivered to the customers without a whole bunch of problems. And strangely enough, they're meeting their schedules with those deliveries to the customers, even though they sat on the lots. And I don't know how many people are doing the quality checks, but it's got to be a bunch of teams that do it.
Yeah, I remember buying a Ford vehicle and had a sticker on the window that said, "This vehicle's been driven 40 miles for quality control." And they actually had like a little release on the window
when
I had ordered it as a new vehicle, and of course I always like it to have like 3 miles on it, but so I was a little disappointed, but. I don't know whether they drove these things or they just kind of went through them and with a fine-tooth comb. But that is just something that Ford is trying to do to increase the quality. And another interesting thing is Ford is saying that Tundra is the target. So when you think about F-150s, you would think, well, they've been around forever. They are the best-selling vehicle. But now Ford says that the Toyota Tundra is what they kind of use as their benchmark to improve quality, basically. So it's kind of interesting that Farley would say this. He did work at Toyota for a while, so he knows their penchant for quality. But it's interesting that he would come out and say that, isn't it?
Well, it is interesting that he would say that, and it means I think it's really interesting to the financial side of the auto industry, because when the number one is saying, "Hey, we got to look at these other guys; they're kind of a little bit better than us."
Yeah, and
that's significant.
Yeah, it is significant, but when you do that type of thing, you end up with a better vehicle. You end up with a vehicle that you're not just saying, like the infamous guy that said when he was told, I think it was a GM exec, that parts are falling off your vehicles before they even get off the assembly line. He says it doesn't matter. It's got a GM logo on it. They'll buy it no matter what.
Well, true.
And how did that work out for them?
Well, it used to work out real well back in the days when it was just the big three. But Toyota, when they set their minds on some particular type of vehicle, you better pay attention.
Yes. One more F-150 story. F-150 Lightning is going to be an EV demonstrator. It's going to take on Pikes Peak in 2024. Ford Performance. It's the 102nd running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, brought to you by Gran Turismo.
Wow.
And they will bring the demonstrator truck. I'm sure it's thoroughly worked. A lot of suspension work done to it. And this follows the electric super van, which is not available here, but electric super van, which went up Pikes Peak in 2023. And the good thing for Ford is, obviously, you want to do this with a vehicle that you can buy. So race on Sunday, buy on Monday, right?
Exactly. I remember seeing back in the '60s, the big three would send their full size cars up Pikes Peak and show how well they did going up, and you could see the cars were blowing blue smoke, and
Hey,
that's
we'll be right back after this. So coming up, we've got Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports. That will be coming up at about, I don't know, about 8 minutes or so. But before that, we're going to talk about Subaru changing their name. So maybe they'll even have something that is more capable than the Wilderness. But less the trend of off-roading looks and
it's
bulkiness continues.
seems alive and well. Um, it's interesting that I mean it was in the '90s that this was a big deal, and then it faded away,
Yeah.
and now it's come back.
Yeah, I remember lifted trucks. I mean, massively lifted trucks. But
Yeah.
hey, we'll be right back.
Cruise control.
And we're back on cruise control, aren't we?
Yes, indeed, and so is Subaru because they have a bunch of new names, and I think they're kind of cool.
Yeah, this comes to us from CarBuzz. They have someone inside the United States Patent and Trademark Office, or the USPTO. I like that. U-
That's just a couple miles from me.
U.S. Power Takeoff. That's what it stands for.
That's that's right.
um,
Now, there's one name. I'm not going to say it at the moment. There's one name that I just don't think fits, but we'll see what you think.
all right. Well, this is first spotted by Auto Guide, actually, and the names include Accomplice, Everglide,
Uh,
Everpass, Getaway, High Road.
Okay,
I like that one.
that's
I,
right. I like High Trail too.
yeah. Outsider.
Don't like that.
No. Tailwind.
Eh,
Trailhead.
mm,
Trail Seeker. I like.
okay.
Uncharted. I don't know about that. Viewfinder. I don't know.
And
That's
Viewfinder. And I don't like either of those. I don't like Accomplice. What does Accomplice mean?
yeah. You're pulling a
It's a, you
job and you have.
robbed a bank?
yeah. That's what a.
It should be getaway car. Yeah, but this is what car companies used to do. You know, the GM and Ford were famous for it. They would trademark names that they never used.
Yeah. Just take them out of commission for the other people, right?
Right.
But I don't know if accomplice is like a high
That
demand one. I
I'm
don't.
driving. What are you driving? It's this is an accomplice.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
I don't think so.
who knows what these could be? It's pure speculation. I mean, the Wilderness, by the way, is pretty capable machine. I know,
Very
kind of
much.
a hidden. I'm going to have a Crosstrek Wilderness review coming up in a couple of weeks, and one of the hidden features of it is it goes from 1,500 pounds of towing capability of the regular Subaru Crosstrek up to 3,500 because they put additional cooling on the transmission. And I thought
Wow.
that could be worth the price of admission for any vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
To run it cooler means it lives longer, right?
Absolutely. And and Subaru knows what they're doing. Let's face it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting. It's everything is off road, off road, off road.
Yeah, I mean, and it might work a little bit more for a brand like Subaru because they're deceptively
Right.
capable.
Right.
I always call that deceptively capable. It is not the big, gigantic tires and the chain hanging from the front bumper and a winch. It is, a
Yeah.
regular looking vehicle that, wow, look at that. You and I have taken them off in the mud up to the door handles and they just keep going. So, I don't know about some of these names. And I also think some of these things are done just to throw people off, you know?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they think way ahead for models coming up and what's kind of what's the thrust of the model. What do we want it to mean to people and all that? The good example is the Oldsmobile Toronado.
Meant
They
nothing.
were looking for a name, and actually Chevy owned the name, and it meant nothing, and they didn't plan to use it, so they gave it to Oldsmobile, which was
Hmm.
perfect for.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
Well, let's do a little talking tech. Volvo is announcing this week the industry first connected safety technology that can alert drivers of accidents ahead. So they say the concept is you're driving down a winding country road. It's impossible to see beyond the road in front of you. Suddenly, your Volvo car alerts you there's been an accident ahead, and you can calmly decelerate and come around the next curve. You see a crashed car in your lane. Thanks to the warning, you were prepared and could react proactively. It's called Accident Ahead Alert. I love the idea. How about you?
wonderful idea. They're capitalizing on what's already being used, on your Google Maps and Waze and all that. When you see dense traffic, that's getting that data from the traffic management centers, which get the data from the amount of cell phone calls that are made in a unit area. So it's
Or,
great.
or,
It's just
or
great.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is great because I've done shows where police are investigating an accident and someone comes around the bend and runs right into their car or the
Absolutely.
crashed car or into the guardrail because they're not paying attention. And oh, look, there's a car in the middle of the road. So I
Yeah.
would venture a guess this will be something that down the line, it will certainly be an IIHS determining top safety pick plus item.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right.
it may even end up becoming like something that's required because this is, we talk about autonomous cars and that. I don't think you're going to see that anytime soon, but you will see more things that could be used in an autonomous car. Um, and this could be one of them. And I think it's a great feature. I think there will be car-to-car communication, maybe not at the level right away that's needed for self-driving cars,
No,
but something
but
like this would be good, right?
this would be great. One car tells the next car, "Hey, watch out! Uh, there's a jackknife truck in the lane and in the fog. Slow down."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, one truck or car that won't be in the lane stuck is the Apple Car project. This was
Sorry,
called
I'm laughing, but it's such.
Well, it was called Project Titan, and it is winding down. There were 2,000 employees working on this project. They
Wow.
will now be moved over to the AI area at Apple. It started in 2014, and
It was a number of years ago. We were, talking about it looking like Mr. Bean.
yes, and I believe some people were standing outside Apple stores in the rain, waiting for it.
Yeah.
Even
That's
already, as
that's
they,
right.
yeah,
Well, I wouldn't waste my time standing anymore because
no.
I'm not going to
Uh,
get it.
so apparently the decision came to scrap the Apple Car project a month after a previous report saying it would be delayed to 2028.
Yeah.
And it would go from an SAE level 4 autonomous driving, that's what was expected, down to just level 2 driver aids. Um, so, basically, here's what's happening. The shine is off EV vehicles at the moment.
Yep.
The shine is definitely off of self-driving vehicles for a long time, because now manufacturers have to start integrating in hybrids and plug-in hybrids to kind of stopgap the EV world. You have Chinese cars potentially flooding into the U.S. market. So
Yep.
really, yes, they have a super strong brand, and all the fan people of Apple would buy one. But I think they just realized this is going to be a money pit, even for Apple. For Apple to realize that is big,
And
right?
they've got one heck of a barrel full of money. So, but you can't just throw it away.
No,
You've got to choose what makes sense and what most people want, and maybe what people want, but you shouldn't give it to them.
I think they'd be
Uh,
better to be a supplier of technology to cars.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, um,
yeah, because they don't make cars. They're going to have to buy a car from somebody.
right? And everyone's going to know. We know what that car was or is, and you're just putting
Right.
an Apple logo on it. So, uh, makes sense, and I think it was a good decision. But no Apple
Yeah.
car, at least for now. But we will have Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports when we come back with the top picks. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It is Fred Staub, Les Jackson, and Mike Quincy, who is joining us from Consumer Reports. Mike, welcome back to Cruise Control.
Hey guys, how's it going this morning?
Okay, it is going great, and we have you here for your top 10 picks, which is always a big thing at Consumer Reports, and we wanted to kind of run them down. And why don't you, for the uninitiated, Mike, tell us how top 10 picks work? You buy all the vehicles. I understand you're even an undercover buyer, although I don't know how undercover. Maybe you put a disguise on, right?
Well, yeah, no, you're you're correct. We do buy all of our products that we test anonymously. I am a buyer. I have a non-work email that I use, and up to the day of delivery, the car dealer thinks they're just going to be registering to me. But in the morning, I call the salesperson and say, just little heads up here. I work for Consumer Reports. This is going to be a test car. It's not going to be registered to me, and blah, blah, blah. And we're a nonprofit organization, and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And it's worked out at least, I think, about 168 times. That's how many cars that I've bought since 2001. And yeah, you're right about top picks, kind of a rite of passage as we merge from winter into spring here in the Northeast. Every April issue of Consumer Reports magazine, we put out our best of the best issue for cars. And in this year's top picks are, they continue to get better. We're always looking for the models that do well in our road tests, that have lots of standard safety features, and really excel when it comes to our surveys from our members about reliability and owner satisfaction.
All right. Well, you put them through a battery of tests for sure. And Les, we're going to start with the Prius, the new Prius. And this is a vehicle you and I talked about that it basically became cool, didn't it?
It finally did after after what, like almost 20 years of being kind of a really good vehicle, but sort of an ugly duckling. The latest one is very attractive, and I would assume, Mike, that it's every bit as good, if not better, than all the previous Toyota hybrids, because Toyota is the name in hybrids.
Absolutely, Les. And you bring up a good point. You think about how long Toyota has been making the Prius and how long they've been investing in hybrid technology. It's no wonder that they are the leaders when it comes to hybrids. Consumer Reports tested the regular Prius as well as the Prius Prime plug-in. I was so blown away by this car's styling. I thought you could finally drive a Prius now and not look like a total nerd. That's kind of like the way I looked at it. And listen, with the Prius Prime getting 39 miles of all electric cruising before it reverts to a regular hybrid operation is awesome. The regular Prius gets 43 miles per gallon overall in Consumer Reports testing. And what really impresses me about this car the most is it's filled with technology. It's a very complicated and complex car, yet its reliability history in Consumer Reports reliability surveys is outstanding. So, hats off to Toyota for not only sticking with this technology, but really perfecting it.
Yeah, they not only have they perfected it, it seems like they timed the market perfectly because
Perfectly.
people are going back that now they're scrambling for hybrids and plug-in hybrids, and Toyota. I don't know, Mike, if you know this off the top of your head, but is virtually every Toyota model available with a hybrid drivetrain as an option?
Well, not the all-electric one.
Not the all-electric one. Yeah, that's true. Not the all-electric one. That's true.
And not the BZ4.
The BZ4X, yeah. That's a
is.
great question. I believe that all the Toyotas are available with some type of hybrid system, even if it's a mild hybrid system. And I've read that the upcoming redesigned Camry is going to be all hybrid, which is fine. Listen, there's no uncertainties about buying hybrids anymore. I understand around the year 2000, 2001, 2002 when hybrids were pretty new and people were like, what the heck is all this? But now we've gotten so used to the Camry hybrid, the RAV4 hybrid, and of course the Prius that it's not a real mystery and it's not a real risk anymore.
Yeah, that's for sure. Not a risk buying a hybrid for sure. Well, while we're on hybrids, let's talk about the Ford Maverick. Now, Les, you and I have talked about this. It's kind of marketed as the pickup for people who didn't know they needed a pickup or wanted a pickup, right?
Well, that's right, and people love it. I mean, they're still getting a bit of a markup on them. They can't build enough of them, and the people that own them, and you and I have both driven them. They're really smooth and quiet. It's a really nice pickup.
Yeah, and designed, Mike, to be inexpensive, but as Les pointed out, they ended up getting marked up a lot because, hey, it's not a lot out there. But what did you like about the Maverick? I mean, we drove this and we loved it. We thought it was a cool vehicle, and it's a hybrid, available as a hybrid.
Right. We were blown away by the Maverick hybrid, the hybrid model, especially 37 miles per gallon overall in Consumer Reports testing. I wrote many years ago, I think during the second or third redesign of like the small Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon. I said the opening line of my story was America needs more small trucks. Not everyone needs a Ford F-150 or a Silverado or a Ram 1500. Small trucks will kind of fit the bill for most suburban homeowners out there. You don't always need to tow something that with enough torque that will completely unhinge your house from its foundation. So the Maverick is quiet, it's comfortable, it handles well, and I hope this is going to be the shape of things to come for more automakers putting out smaller, more fuel efficient trucks.
Just put on your prognosticator hat for a second, and everyone's wondering, will there be a all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive hybrid version? I think they should do it. I don't know if they can, but it would be great.
It's a nice problem for Ford to have, people lining up to buy some of their products and they can't make enough of them. I'm sure every automaker would love to have that kind of stress.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Les, another vehicle you and I talk about a lot is the RAV4, super popular,
Right.
available as a regular gas engine, a hybrid, or the plug-in hybrid, which is the RAV4 Prime. Great vehicle. It's going to eventually get a complete redo, maybe next year or the year after. I'm not sure. But Mike, what did your team like about this?
What we loved about the RAV4 Prime is it gives you 40 miles of all electric driving. And for some people out there that they're hearing all the hype about electric vehicles, whether it's Tesla or Lucid or Rivian or whatnot, and they're a little nervous to get away from internal combustion. So for some people, a plug-in hybrid like the RAV4 Prime is absolutely perfect. I believe that the average commute for Americans is like under 40 miles. So with the RAV4 Prime giving you about 40 miles of all electric driving, you might be able to go through your day-to-day life Monday through Friday and not ever have to go to the gas station, which is awesome. If you could plug in at where you live, that's great. The cool thing about the RAV4 Prime compared to the regular RAV4 is all those extra batteries have made it heavier. And in this case, it's not a bad thing. It improved the ride. It hunkered down the handling. It probably made it just a little bit quieter. I love this RAV4 Prime. I think this is an awesome day-to-day car. My wife especially is like, oh, this would be perfect for me. But again, they're in high demand. But I think anyone who's thinking about taking a cautious step toward electrification, the RAV4 Prime is perfect.
Yeah, yeah, no compromise. And, I think, once again, I think Toyota has really timed the market perfectly. It is perfect for what most people need. And I remember explaining this to someone at work and saying, well, you can have it is an electric vehicle, but when you want to take it out on the weekend and go, and take a trip upstate or something, it's fine. It's all good. And so it's still, I think, probably the best bet right now. Let's squeeze one more in before the break, Mike, and let's talk about a great-looking vehicle. This is the Toyota Highlander Hybrid, your mid-size SUV, and we'll have to pick up with this after the break. But just tell me real brief what you like to start us with.
Well, 35 miles per gallon overall in Consumer Reports testing for a 3-row family vehicle is outstanding outside of, Toyota's own Sienna hybrid minivan. This is a real fuel-efficient family vehicle, does really things well. The redesign, Toyota improved a lot of things that we criticized about it, improved the interior fit and finish. And this is a really nice choice for families, especially anyone needing 3-row seating.
All right. Well, we will be right back with more of Mike Quincy from Consumer Report with the top 10 picks. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Good question.
Hey, during the break, we're going to ask Mike a couple of questions. And Mike, Les has a question for you.
Yes, and it's very simple. But people like us who test a lot of cars can't answer it. And that is, if you had, $35,000 to $40,000 to spend on a new vehicle and you had to buy one, what would you buy?
Well, I think for my day-to-day life, and I'm a real road trip guy. And I'm really big on fuel economy these days. So I like the current design before the redesign of the Toyota Camry Hybrid. And before you just say, oh, it's a boring car, Toyota has done a lot of work with their suspension tuning and their steering. It's gotten a lot better over the years. And get this, with the Camry Hybrid's fuel economy, you're looking at over 600 miles on a cruising range.
Wow.
And for a road trip guy like me, that's just gold. I mean, I love this car. I think it is in some ways grossly underrated because it doesn't have European lineage and all that other stuff. But I would give this I want fuel economy. I want reliability. I want comfort. I want a decent ride, a quiet cabin. And the Camry Hybrid does all of that.
Les would agree. Camry Hybrid, that's great. And now they're all hybrids. And I remember that it was some kind of crazy huge number that in 1 year it would save a tremendous amount of gas just from people buying the Camry Hybrid, because now they're all hybrids. And I thought, well, you want results? There's a pretty big result. We're going to be coming back to the live show real quick, but real fast, one tip: you buy a lot of cars yourself. One tip for everyone buying cars, Mike, because you bought like 160 of them.
Number one, don't fall in love.
Absolutely.
If you walk into the showroom and you see a car and you're so visibly moved by it, the salespeople smell blood like a circling shark.
I always said that. Like, if you want a red one, well, red one's there, say, I really wanted blue or black, but I guess I could do red, right?
Right. I mean, don't express your deep dying love for this. Don't tell them I can spend, $300 a month or something stupid like that.
Oh,
because they'll get you into a car for $300 a month and you'll pay for it for 8 years or something like that.
As my Australian friend said, don't tip your mitt. Here we go. We're back live.
Yep.
I'll bring us in.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We are cruising down the top 10 picks from Consumer Reports. Mike Quincy is with us. He has been with the show a number of times, Always a great guest. People should check out your podcast, too. Where do they find your podcast?
Talking Cars, Consumer Reports Talking Cars on our website, consumerreports.org, and you can also check it out on YouTube.
Do you ever have guests? We'd love to come on sometime. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Occasionally we do have guests, and what I'm always pushing to the producer of the podcast is people have us on their podcast. We have them on our podcast. And what you wind up doing is you combine all of all of the audiences together, and a lot of cross promotion. And I think it would be great for Consumer Reports audience to hear voices other than ours and opinions other than ours.
Yeah. Well, if you ever do that, we'd love to come on. It would be fun. We were talking about the Toyota hybrid, the Highlander, and did you finish up on that? What you liked about it? I mean, good-looking vehicle. They've really improved it, haven't they?
They have, and I have to tip my hat to Toyota a little bit with this new Highlander, because you just showed a shot of the inside. The controls are generally very, very easy to learn and to manipulate. Unlike a lot of cars these days that are just going high tech everywhere and screens and touch this and touch that, Toyota still is using some basic hard buttons, easy to use controls. You combine, the ease of the usability, the reputation for great reliability, and great fuel economy. And again, if you need a vehicle of this size, this is an excellent choice. I'm at the stage in my life where my kids are much older. I don't need 3-row seating to hold a bunch of kids and run everybody to soccer practice or whatnot. But if you are consistently transporting a bunch of people, this is a really good choice.
All right. Well, let's talk about something that's a little bit more expensive. This is certainly not in the under $45,000 range, but it is the X5 BMW, built right here in South Carolina. Well, not here, like where I'm not in South Carolina, in the U.S., I should say. If you want one anywhere around the world, you will buy it from here. And good-looking vehicle. BMW has done a pretty good job with electrification, haven't they?
They have, because they really haven't lost their BMW-ness, if that's a word, in terms of handling and steering feel and whatnot. The X5 really blew us away. We tested the plug-in model. It delivered about 39 miles of all-electric driving. And as you heard me mention today, that can be enough to get most people through their day-to-day commute and whatnot. But what the X5 brings is a beautiful interior, really quiet. Controls have a bit of a learning curve. They're not as bad as they used to. I know that's damning it with faint praise, but this X5 is in constant demand here at the track now that we've done testing it. And yes, it is kind of the lone exception in Consumer Reports top picks in that it is pretty expensive, $65,000 to $89,000, and that kind of flies in contrast to the majority of the models on the 6 of the 10 top picks of the April issue are based at $30,000 or less. And so, yeah, we did have one kind of indulgence on the list, and that's definitely the X5.
We are talking with Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports, the top 10 picks. Les, up next is the Model Y from Tesla. This is the all-electric vehicle. Tesla, we talk about it a lot. Still having issues with quality, or have they kind of nailed them down?
Is that for me or for Les?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's for you, Mike.
I'm sorry. I heard you. I heard you introduce Les, and I was like, okay, let's take it from there.
That was my bad. Yeah.
Tesla is often hit and miss. Every year, Consumer Reports surveys its members, and the latest survey brought us over 300 experiences in over 300,000 cars. A number of Consumer Reports members own Teslas. So year in and year out, Tesla, some years they're okay, some years they're not okay. The Model X has been consistently bad. The Model Y improved its reliability as any vehicle can from survey to survey in Consumer Reports. The way that we talk to our members. And I guess the good thing about the Model Y, well, there's a lot of good things, but one of them is the 330-mile cruising range. The most important thing, though, is the access to Tesla's supercharging charging system, which really goes coast to coast. That's one reason alone to buy a Tesla is to get on board with that. I know that Ford and other manufacturers are lining up to sign up to use the Tesla systems, the charging systems. So they've got that going for it. Tesla is really the number one seller of electric vehicles in the world. They've done an excellent job when it comes to that. Whether or not the styling is your thing, that's up to you. Whether or not you want to kind of go with the whole, Tesla mindset, that's up to you. But there's no denying how well Teslas have done in Consumer Reports testing.
Now let's talk about something that is no longer available, right? I don't think the Mazda 3 is available anymore, but it was one of your picks.
I think it's still available.
Is it, or have they made it a CX? No. They're among the few manufacturers that are still selling small cars, not SUVs, not crossovers. The Mazda 3 is still available. We love this car because it's fun to drive. You can still get certain trim lines with a manual transmission. Very, very decent fuel economy in Consumer Reports testing. Mazda has a great reliability great reputation for reliability. And again, what I like about the Mazda 3 is let's say you don't want to buy a used car. You can't afford, the average price of a new car is like $48,000. You can get in a really nice Mazda 3 for 30 and change. You get that new car warranty, the new car smell, all that stuff. I think if you want to get a new car, you enjoy driving, you enjoy good steering feedback, the Mazda 3 should be top on your list. Okay, interesting. Now, here's one that's kind of top on my list. This is the Subaru Crosstrek. It is no longer available as a hybrid. It was a hybrid for a couple of years, available as a hybrid, but no longer. What do you like about the Crosstrek? This always seems like a pretty good deal to me.
I think you've hit it on the head. A good deal is a great way of putting it, priced between about $26,000 and $32,000. The Crosstrek delivered 29 miles per gallon overall in Consumer Reports testing. Subaru's done great work with adding lots of standard safety features to its models. We like their EyeSight driver monitoring system. It's very effective. and we give extra points for manufacturers that are putting all the standard safety, blind spot warning, forward collision warning at highway speeds, pedestrian detection, all that stuff. Subaru has really nailed that down, and we give them a lot of credit for that. The base 2-liter engine is a bit weak, so I would spend the extra money and go for the 2.5-liter engine. It's more powerful. The car could definitely use it. But the thing about Subarus is they're just incredibly quiet inside. You wouldn't think like a horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine would just invade the interior with noise. But in Subaru's case, all the interiors of their cars are whisper quiet.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. We're almost always running out of time because there's a lot to talk about. Next up, Subaru Forester. This gets a big upgrade and a big redo, but what did you like about the Forester? I would say visibility is always key there with the Forester. And they kept it in the new model now, the 2025 as well.
You're absolutely right. The front roof pillars for the Forester are always thin. There's lots of glass area. It does have great visibility. It's also really easy to get in and out of. And the reason I bring that up is a lot of folks out there are trying to find vehicles for their aging parents or an older generation or uncles or aunts or stuff like that. The Forester is super easy to get in and out of. And get this, 11 years in a row on Consumer Reports top picks list. This is the last year for the current current model. And what we found in Consumer Reports reliability surveys is the cars that are at the last year of their production are usually the most reliable. I mean, it's hard to believe, but I mean, a conscientious manufacturer is always working on improving their models. They're looking at warranty claims. They're studying the data and they're finding ways to make their cars better. This is the last year for this current generation Forester. So I would say if you're in the market for a small SUV, it's easy to live with, great reliability, definitely check out the Forester.
And one more. We're going to keep going with one more so we make the full list. That would be the Camry 2025. Well, I have it as the 2025. They're all hybrids now. But you like the 2024 hybrid, right?
Again, the Camry is the last of this generation. So not that reliability has ever been an issue with the Camry, but this is as rock solid as you're going to find for a new car. I mentioned the fuel economy before, 600 plus mile cruising range for the hybrid model. This is a great value. This is an easy car to live with. And I think that the driving pleasure of this car is very underreported by many people in the automotive journalist community. I would give it a drive and decide for yourself. But I find this car wonderful to live with, great road tripper, and just an easy car to recommend to almost anyone.
Well, Mike Quincy, we made it through the list. So if people want to read this report and they want to, get it in greater detail than you've already given, you've given it in great detail, where would they go?
Go to consumerreports.org. We have all kinds of great automotive information there. And believe it or not, we still actually produce a magazine. So you can go to your newsstand. You go to your newsstand and pick up the April issue of Consumer Reports. Tons of information on all the new cars, lots of used car information, lots of reliability information. And just a reminder, we also do great work on testing tires and child safety seats. Don't ask me a thing about refrigerators or microwaves. I have no idea.
All right. Well, Mike, we appreciate it. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road. Take care.
Bye.
All right, Mike, we got it in. We ran a little over, but that's okay. Thank you very much.